next session. So really, thank you, Janina and Jeta, Nikki, and Sujit. This was a wonderful conversation, and for sharing them, and also, you know, for my European colleagues and friends, thank you for being there for India, for this HowlRound, and showing your respect and being part of a world community that is important. Thank you so much, and we move over now to our next session. And have a great morning, have a great day, and thank you so much. I admire both of you and your work. So hope to see you soon again in life. Bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
So Abhishek, you're back in your office.
Yes, Frank, I am. How are you doing?
Good, 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 good. I can't believe that we are getting closer to the end.
I saw you this morning and it looked like you had a nap and you came back. You're getting more and more alert as we are passing by. It's superhuman.
Yeah. Or maybe something is wrong with my normal state, and I am overtired all the time, but I don't feel and see the difference. So welcome. We have I see Ria or Maria is with us from the great Paper Moon Puppet Theater in Indonesia, Maria Tri Sulistyani. So thank you for joining us and for being with us.
Oh my gosh, you're amazing. Look at you, an amazing host. 24 hours.
My goodness. Yes, this is quite something, but it is so inspiring to hear from everyone. And I see we have Silvia also here from Italy, who is representing Teatro delle Albe and will speak for Marco and Armana. Can you hear us? Is this all well?
Yeah. Hi, Frank. Hi, everyone.
So what time is it, Silvia, in Ravenna?
10 o'clock a.m.
10 o'clock in the morning. You're lucky you do live in the future, and we are behind.
Absolutely.
Ria, what time is it?
It's 3 p.m. right now, 21st of July.
3 p.m. So that's also that's a good time. It's not so bad.
Exactly.
Yeah. I think we moved your time spot twice or 3 times. I don't know, you know. So because you said put me somewhere, it will work out, and so it's really great to have you now with us. Is Manzoor there? I cannot see it on my screen, but maybe it's just hidden. Abhishek, do you know?
He was here.
I haven't got a message. Is it? I think the back-end team is trying to get him in.
Trying to get him in. So maybe traditionally we start, you know, since this is all about India and this 24-hour marathon really is to highlight the work our colleagues are doing. Abhishek, who, like, I think in a heroic way, night after night, stayed up with the team to connect people in India, especially from rural areas in that dark times. It's got a little bit better, but to really, they did the work that government should be doing. Hospitals should have been done, the state, the cities, and they jumped in of it. And was the most heartbreaking call of all the over 150 calls we made, and Siegel talks we had, and what he and Anarupa saw, what action they took. It is truly inspiring. And I remember that Abhishek said, you know, we don't need money, we don't need donation. That's only going to make you feel better. But if there's anything that could be useful, is some intention, some international attention. And this was the inspiration coming out of that sentence you said. And now we have over 100 artists participating, 50 from India, covering all the regions of India, 8 different languages, not just dialects, 8 different languages in India. And I think 30 countries from around the world. And it is quite a privilege for me to host this, I feel. And it's so little, and compared to Abhishek, what you did and what Anarupa did and what your team did. And it's a token of appreciation and trying out what it feels for us to be up all night, and everybody sees us and say, hey, this is so great what you're doing. But those nights when you were there at home and your daughter and kids were asleep, and I remember when you were on the Siegel talk and you said, Frank, when you hang up, I have 114 people on my list, people we in our team will try to connect to, and we try to help them. And so many actually we can't help, they will die. We talk to their family members, it will be too late. They don't have internet. They cannot report their oxygen level. And there is very little oxygen available strong enough to pump the lungs, to pump up the lungs. And also nurses, doctors have died. And bodies were at the time burned on the streets. Actually, 20 of them next to each other. I saw images. It was apocalyptic, and such a developed country, but also a rich country of India. That's a big failure of government. And many speakers today said it was actually a murder. It was taken into account that this could happen. And it is really shocking. And but it was the theater community that came through, and even within the arts community that helped so much. It was the theater people like Abhishek who did that. So this is why we talk today. And perhaps we start with Silvia, and tell us a little bit about your theater in Ravenna and what message you brought with us. Sylvia, I think you are under, you have to press, yeah.
Okay. Allora, thanks Frank, and thanks to Abhishek Tanvi, and it's a great pleasure to be with you, and the greeting from Herman and Marco that are on video, not in presence. So Ravenna, we are for all the period, the situation in Ravenna is not really difficult in this moment, and and for this year and a half, we think in this difficult situation that is not really a difficult situation in the other part of the world. So in this moment, the town is open, the theater are open. Yes, sure, we can go to the theater with the mask, with the distance from each other, but we are in this moment in a situation over control, and the culture is restart. So we know we are really lucky with regard the other part of the world. So in every time, every day, we know this, and we use this time with this year absolutely to stay to listen more than talk, to stay really in listen to study and to reflect about this time, and to try to think about our responsibility in general, but also with regard our town and the artists, the young artists, and the other people, and less supported than us. So we tried in this time to stay open and to listen, especially.
Yeah, it's an amazing theater in a relatively smaller town, a beautiful town. But Dante, the great Italian writer, maybe some say the first theatrical writer of Italy, actually, is being buried where he lived his end of his life. And I saw a performance there where, like, every evening 200 people from the town were involved. It was a walk through the town, and they were staging part of this Divina Commedia, of the Divine Comedy. It was stunning. So maybe Silvia, tell us a little bit, or send us, maybe we can play the greetings from Marco and Hermana. They couldn't be with us, we planned, but they are filming at the moment, but they created something for us to look at.
Non si sente. Si vedono solo i sottotitoli.
So it's a warm greeting. We are all in this courtyard in an ancient place in Ravenna to bring your support, our caress, our embrace.
We have a problem with the sound.
Yeah, for all this international event that you are carrying out. And we are close to you with our souls and hearts, and the immersions of the cicadas and birds that are passing through us. So they sent their kisses and an embrace, and they also have a short film, which is part of the 26th canto of Dante Alighieri's Inferno. Is that right, Silvia? Is that what we will see? It's a reflection by images and voice.
Yeah, yes.
On the mystery of the journey of Ulysses. So they say thanks to HowlRound and me and everybody who was involved, Abhishek Tambi. So this is quite moving and touching that they recorded that for us. So thank you, Silvia, for making this happen and creating the subtitles. You must have done some night work to get it done.
Yes, but I think the short video is starting because it's linked to the greeting, so we can understand if the sound start or.
Yeah, we should. The sound needs to be there for the film. Maybe we could try again and see if someone could make a magic trick.
Don't start.
Should there be sound already?
No. Yes, from the beginning, the sound of the sea.
Should be there. So I don't know what it worked with all the other videos we did show. I'm sure it's just one magic button that needs to be pressed.
I don't know if I can help. I can try to share screen.
Can Silvia share her screen, team? Is that possible?
If you want, I have in my computer the video. So
yeah, let's try that.
Vergogna.
Okay, let's go back to the
in grande orranza.
Let's
non
go
ne
back.
sali. Ma se presso al mattin del ver si sogna, tu sentirai di qua da picciol tempo di quel che prato.
Okay, wonderful. No, we don't have the greeting. Just start with the video and that should work. Yeah.
Godi, Fiorenza, poiché sei sì grande, che per mare e per terra batti l'ali, e per lo inferno tuo nome si spande. Tra li ladron trovai 5 cotali, tuoi cittadini, onde mi ven vergogna, e tu, in grande orranza, non ne sali. Ma se presso al mattin del ver si sogna, tu sentirai di qua da picciol tempo di quel che prato non ch'altri t'agogna. E se già fosse, non saria per tempo, così fossei da che pur esser dee, che più mi graverà con più m'attempo. Noi ci partimmo e su per le scalee che n'aveva fatto i borni a scender pria, rimontò il duca mio e trasse me. E proseguendo la solinga via, tra le schegge e tra rocchi dello scoglio, lo piè, senza la man, non si spedia. Allor mi dolsi e ora mi ridoglio, quando drizzo la mente a ciò che vedi, e più lo ingegno a freno chi non soglio, perché non corra che virtù nol guidi, sì che se stella bona o miglior cosa m'ha dato il ben, ch'io stessi non mi invidi. Quante il villan ch'al poggio si riposa, nel tempo che colui che il mondo schiara la faccia sua a noi tien meno ascosa, come la mosca cede alla zanzara, vede lucciole giù per la vallea, forse colà dov'ei vendemmia e ara, di tante fiamme tutta risplendea l'ottava bolgia, sì, com'io m'accorsi tosto che fui là bel fondo parea. E qual colui che si vengiò con gli orsi vide il carro di Lia al dipartire, quando i cavalli al cielo erti levorsi, che non potea, sì, con gli occhi seguire, che il vedesse altro che la fiamma sola, sì, come in nuvoletta in su salire. Tal si muove ciascuna per la gola del fosso, che nessuna mostra il furto, e ogni fiamma un peccatore invola. Io stava sovra al ponte a veder surto, sì che s'io non avessi un ronchion preso, caduto sarei giù senz'esser urto. E il duca, che mi vide tanto atteso, disse: dentro dai fuochi son gli spirti, ciascun si fascia di quel che gli è inceso. Maestro mio, risposi io, per udirti son io più certo, ma già m'era avviso che così fosse, e già voleva dirti. Chi è in quel foco che vien sì diviso di sopra, che par surger della pira, dove Tiocle col fratel fu miso? Rispose a me: là dentro si martira Ulisse e Diomede, e così insieme alla vendetta vanno come all'ira. E dentro dalla lor fiamma si geme l'agguato del caval che fe la porta, onde uscì de Romani il gentil seme. Piangevisi entro l'arte, perché morta deida mia ancor si duol d'Achille, e del Palladio pena vi si porta. Sei posson dentro da quelle faville parlar, diss'io, maestro, assai te imprego e riprego, che il priego vaglia 1000, che non mi facci dell'attender niego, finché la fiamma cornuta qua vegna. Vedi che del disio ver lei mi piego, ed elle a me: la tua preghiera è degna di molta loda, e io però l'accetto, ma fa che la tua lingua si sostegna. Lascia parlare a me, ch'io concetto ciò che tu vuoi, che ei sarebbero schivi, perché ei for greci, forse del tuo detto. Poiché la fiamma fu venuta quivi, dove parve al mio duca tempo e loco, in questa forma lui parlare audivi. O voi che siete due dentro a un fuoco, s'io meritai di voi mentre chi vissi, s'io meritai di voi assai o poco. Quando nel mondo gli alti versi scrissi, non vi movete, ma l'un di voi dica dove per lui perduto a morir gissi. Lo maggior corno della fiamma antica cominciò a crollarsi, mormorando, pur come quella a cui vento affatica. Inde la cima, qua e là, minando, come fosse la lingua che parlasse, gittò voce di fuori e disse: quando mi dipartii da Circe, che sottasse me più d'un anno là, presso a Greta, prima che si Enea la nomasse, né dolcezza di figlio, né la pietà del vecchio padre, né il debito amore, lo qual dovea Penelope far lieta. Vincer potero dentro a me l'ardore che ebbi a divenir del mondo esperto.
Yeah, I
Dei
think.
delizi umani.
Can you hear me, Silvia?
E del valore.
Yeah. So I think we started. I'm sorry, we started a bit late because of the possibilities, but I think we can't play all the rest of the 6 minutes. Might be a bit too much. Maybe we stop here and Silvia, tell a little bit about the project. What are we looking at, and where does it fit in the work of Teatro delle Albe?
Is a part. Thank you. Is a part of our big project on Divine Comedy by Dante. And as Frank told before, Herman and Marco take the challenge to create the Divine Comedy with many artists, but also with many citizens. So in the project are involved 1,000 of citizens of Ravenna, but also of other part of Italy. And because for us, the idea, the definition of Dante really important is the definition by Ezra Pound. Dante is the everyman. So we are the men who make the journey. So for this, like Dante, in this moment, we hope the height, we hope the light. So Herman and Marco wanted to share with us this journey on the dark of Ulysses, but we hope the light, like Dante.
Of the light, yeah. And I'm sorry, it's always when one isn't there in person, sometimes technically it gets complicated, but what a beautiful voice, Herman. I don't think I've ever heard Dante spoken so beautifully. It's really a great gift your company is giving, and also the idea that community is at the center. I remember that in the Dante project, Greta Thunberg, was an actress and came up, and Joseph Beuys, an artist. So you wove things in. But let's go directly to Manzoor right away. Manzoor, welcome. Where are you and what time is it?
I think it is 1:50 in Kashmir. Basically, I am from Jammu and Kashmir. My name is Manzoor and मैं theater करता हूँ as an artist, as a director. मैंने कुछ plays भी लिखे हैं as a playwright. और अपने plays के अलावा I have translated, I think, more than 12 plays from other languages into Kashmiri that include Badal Sarkar's Julus, Bisham Sani's Hanush, Jayan Jalvi's that Sandhya Chaya, James Sarinji's Riders to the Sea, Bertolt Brecht's Exception and the Rule, and Accidental Death of an Anarchist of Dairy Falls. Beside this,
translate कर दूँ साहब?
Yeah.
मैं इतना translate कर देता हूँ.
Yeah,
उर्दू से. Thank you. So I'm just translating the bits that were in Kashmiri. In Urdu, Manzoor Sahab is actually a very dear friend of ours and also colleague in many ways. He's right now in Kashmir, in Jammu and Kashmir, which is the northern most part. And he is a playwright. He also runs a company. He's a director, and he has written several plays of his own. And what he was telling us now was about the plays that he has translated to Kashmiri. So what he's speaking now is in Urdu so that I can translate, but his other language is Kashmiri.
So ask him, how is the situation for him personally, but also politically? How is he experiencing this moment?
ये जो पूरा कोरोना का समय है, मंजूर साहब, ये आपके लिए politically, personally कैसा रहा और अभी भी कैसा चल रहा है कश्मीर में आपके यहाँ?
देखिए, जब हम कोरोना की बात करें, हम अगर पूरी दुनिया की बात करें और स्पेशली अगर हम जम्मू कश्मीर की बात करें और उसके बाद वादिया कश्मीर की बात करें, तो सूरत हाल तो अपने जो मेरा पर्सनल नजरिया है या अगर पॉलिटिकल नजरिया है तो भयानक रही है. इसमें कोई दो राय नहीं है कि इसमें बहुत सारी ऐसे वाक़ात गुजरे हैं जिनसे हमें बहुत सारा सीखने को भी मिला है और बहुत सारा हमको खोना भी पड़ा.
Let's translate. Yeah.
I'll stop and get a logical.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. आप ये वाला सेंटेंस खत्म कर लीजिए मंजूर साहब.
जी.
आप कह रहे थे भयानक नहीं है?
नहीं, भयानक है, भयानक है. आई एम नॉट टेलिंग दैट दिस वाज नॉट भयानक. ये भयानक है. तो इसमें अभी जो जाती तौर मैंने देखा है, हालांकि कश्मीर की जब हम बात करें और मेरी थिएटर फ्रेटर्निटी की बात करें तो हमारे बहुत सारे इफेक्टेड हो गए कोविड में, लेकिन उस ऊपर वाले का शुक्र है कि कोई मरा नहीं है. लेकिन उसके बगैर जो हमारे
कर देता हूँ ताकि मुझे याद रहे. So he's saying that, you know, if you look at the world, if you look at Jammu and Kashmir and particularly Kashmir, in all these places, of course, what has happened is quite dangerous and quite terrorizing, what COVID has brought. But at the same time, Manzoor Sahab is saying that there has also been, you know, there are many events, many incidents from which one has learned a lot. It's also a time to learn, and but thankfully in their fraternity, nobody has died as such right now. So, हाँ मंजूर साहब,
जो मैंने बात कही आपको कि सीखने को मिला, सीखने को मुझे जब लास्ट फर्स्ट फेज चला था तो उस समय मुझे श्रीनगर में कहीं पे ऑटो में सफर करना पड़ा और ये कोविड का वेव किसी हद तक खत्म हो गया था. और उस समय जब मैंने ऑटो वाले को ले लिया तो ऑटो वाले ने जो मुझसे किराया मांगा तो ये मेरे एक्सपेक्टेशन से बहुत कम था. और जब बात करते करते उससे मैंने बात की कि भैया अगर आपका इतना रेट बनता है तो आप इतना कम करके क्यों ले जा रहे हो मुझे, तो उसने जो मुझे अपनी कहानी बताई तो यकीन करें कि मुझे रोना आया.
फिर मैं कहानी पे आता हूँ. Thank you. So he's saying that when, you know, for one example that he's giving, that he was at the end of the first wave, he was in an auto rickshaw, which is the three-wheeled scooter that we use a lot in India. He was sitting in one of those in Srinagar, which is the capital of Kashmir. And the auto driver took a much lesser fare than what he should have taken. So when Manzoor Sahab asked him that, you know, why are you taking a less fare? You know, whatever story he said, it brought tears to his eyes. So he's going to say that now. ठीक ना मंजूर साहब?
जी, उसकी कहानी ये थी कि कोविड के कारण उसके बाप की डेथ हो गई थी और एक बेवा माँ थी, घर में 3 जवान बहनें थी, सोर्स ऑफ इनकम कुछ नहीं रहा था. और उस दिन जब मैं उसके ऑटो में बैठा था, उसको 1000 रुपया किसी भी हालत में जमा करना था और वो ये पैसा मतलब ज्यादा चार्ज करके जमा नहीं करना चाहता था, कि वो चाहता था कि ज्यादा से ज्यादा सवारियां डालकर मैं 1000 रुपया जमा करके शाम को अपने मां के लिए दवाई लाऊं. तो ये मेरे लिए एक सबक आमूज नसीहत थी कि इतना कुछ गुजरने के बावजूद भी अगर इस बंदे की हिम्मत इतनी है, तो हम लोग जो है, हम जो इस समाज में जिम्मेदार लोग कहलाते हैं, तो हमारा क्या फर्ज बनता है.
Thank you. So he's saying that auto driver said that, he, in the COVID wave, his father died, the auto driver's father died, and he has a mother and three sisters. So he had to earn 1,000 rupees in the day to buy medicines for his mother. But he didn't want to overcharge and earn that money. He said, this is such a time, I don't want to do that. I want to put in as many people as possible. I want to work hard so that the money that I take for my mother's medicine is from hard work and it's not because I have overcharged. So Manzoor Sahib is saying that, he was a poor man and he had such confidence, such moral sort of strength that we learned from him that it is possible to show such determination in this difficult time. जी मंजूर साहब.
उसके बाद कश्मीर में स्कूल खुले, जो मेरे लिए एक और बिट, ये वो तो एक सबक आमोज कहानी थी, लेकिन यहाँ पे एक कुछ ऐसी है जिसको मैं दुख भरी कहानी कह सकता हूँ कि यहाँ पे स्कूल खुले, स्कूल के साथ साथ यहाँ पे हमारे मतलब इंस्टीट्यूशंस खुले, प्राइवेट इंस्टीट्यूशंस खुले, और अपने वालिदैन ने अपने बच्चों को इंस्टीट्यूशंस जाने की इजाजत दे दी. लेकिन वहाँ उस ऑटो ड्राइवर के मुकाबले में जो हमने देखा वो कुछ मुख्तलिफ ही था. मुख्तलिफ इन द सेंस कि वहां पे इतना ओवर चार्ज किया गया और वंस चार्ज किया गया था कि इससे हमें दूसरी चीज सीखने को मिली कि ज्यादतियां भी हुई हमारे साथ. जहां एक तरफ गरीब लोग ये थे कि वो चाहते थे कि इस कोविड में हम मिलजुल के लड़े, वहां पे कुछ ऐसा तबका भी था जो नहीं चाहता था, जो चाहता था कि इसे हम फायदे से फायदा ले लें.
So he's saying that, but on the other hand, if you see, when the schools, some private institutions opened in Kashmir, people wanted their children to go to school and they started going to, some of these private institutions. They actually started charging a lot more. They started asking for greater fee. And so he's saying that, on one hand, you have these poor people who are coming together to support and help and with such moral determination. On the other hand, there's also one group of people, one class of people who are trying to profit out of this COVID time, who are trying to exploit. And जी मंजूर साहब.
और पहला फेज तो खत्म हो गया. पहले फेज खत्म होने के बाद जो हम थिएटर या आर्ट से जुड़े लोग थे, हमने भी थोड़ा बहुत कुछ करना चाहा, थोड़ा बहुत किया भी, लेकिन अल्लाह की मार ये कि कोविड का सेकंड फेज स्टार्ट हो गया. और सेकंड फेज में जहां हमने फर्स्ट फेज में अपने महदूद तरीके से कुछ लोगों की मदद करी थी, बिल्कुल कम पैमाने पे, बिल्कुल थोड़ा थोड़ा हमने मदद करी कि सैनिटाइजर दिया था उनको, मास्क दी थी या कुछ दवाएं दी. वहां हमें अपने पूरे मुल्क से और कुछ बाहर के ममालिक से कुछ ग्रांट मिली लोगों ने, जो अपने तौर पे उन्होंने हमें भेजी. और यहाँ पे हमें दूसरे फेज में लोगों के पास जाने का एक बहुत अच्छा मौका मिला और कुछ 150 के करीब फैमिलीज को हमें मदद करने का मौका भी मिला.
जी. So he's saying in the first phase, they had done some relief work around them, and that was at a very small scale. It was just giving sanitizers and these kind of things. But the second phase was, on one hand, much more disruptive, but they also received some financial aid and grants from people within Kashmir, outside Kashmir, from outside the country also. And they were able to go to about 150 families in their neighborhood, in their town, and support them in a much bigger way than they were able to do in the first time.
Abhishek, can you ask him, did he prepare for us a reading? Will we hear a reading or will it be a dialogue?
Yeah. मंजूर साहब, आपने कुछ पढ़ने के लिए या कुछ तैयार किया है, कुछ बताने के लिए?
तो मैंने दो चीजें तैयार की हैं. एक तो एक छोटी सी पोइम है मेरी, जो मेरी नहीं है, बेसिकली श्री अमिताभ बच्चन जी की है. लेकिन उससे पहले मैं एक वाक्य को पढ़ना चाहता हूँ जो अभी हाल ही में मेरे साथ हुआ है. इनफैक्ट मेरे एक दोस्त थे, दिल्ली में रहते थे, एज ए असिस्टेंट. सॉरी
मंजूर साहब, मैं बता देता हूँ ये कि आप क्या पढ़ने वाले हैं, है ना? So there are two things. There are two small things he wants to read. The second one is a poem. The first one is a small incident that happened to him that he wants to read. जी मंजूर साहब।
जी, पिछले 30 बरस कश्मीर के हालात शुरिश ज़दा, दूसरी रियासतों के लोग आने से डर रहे थे, लेकिन जूं जूं हमने मेहनत की और लोगों ने मेहनत की, लोगों को समझाया बुझाया कि हमारे कश्मीर के हालात दिन ब दिन सही होते जा रहे हैं, पुरअमन होते जा रहे हैं, तो मेरे एक दोस्त ने लगातार 5 साल पूछने के बाद इस साल 25 मार्च की टिकटें बुक कराई थी कश्मीर आने के लिए। Translate.
So over the last 30 years, Kashmir, there have been a lot of doubts in people's mind whether they can go or not, because it has been a area of conflict. But they have been saying that things are getting better, so for people to come and be comfortable with coming. So from last 5 years, a friend of Manzoor Saab's has been asking, can we come? Is it okay? And they have been saying yes. So this year, on 25th March, they had booked tickets to come to Kashmir. जी
23 मार्च को अचानक उनका फोन आया, जिनका नाम था प्रकाश शर्मा जी, कि मीर भाई मैंने तो टिकटें कैंसिल करी। मैं वजह पूछा तो कहने लगे कि यार कोविड ने बहुत मार मचाई है। मीर भाई आप देखो 20,000 केसेस दिल्ली में आ रहे हैं, अरे 2,000 के करीब लोग मर रहे हैं। नहीं मैं नहीं आ सकता हूं। मैंने समझाया, मैंने बुझाया कि नहीं, कश्मीर में ऐसे हालात नहीं, डरे हुए थे, नहीं आ गए।
So his friend said, there are about 23,000 cases in Delhi. The friend was coming from Delhi, and there are 2,000 people dying every day. So I have cancelled my tickets. We are not coming. And Manzoor Saab said that no, it's not that bad in Kashmir. It's not that kind of situation. You can come. जी मंजूर साहब।
4 दिन बाद उनसे मुलाकात की फोन पे, पता चला कि वो बीमार हैं। मंजूर वीर साहब मुझे तो बुखार हो गया है, मेरे लिए दुआ करना। मैंने कहा कि अल्लाह ताला आपको शिफा बख्शे। 4-5 दिन फिर गुजर गए, मैंने फोन कर दिया कि अब कैसे हालात है। मंजूर साहब मेरे हालात दिन ब दिन खराब होते जा रहे हैं। मैंने फिर दुआ की और आखिरकार 19 अप्रैल को उनको मैंने फोन किया। उन्होंने मेरा फोन रिसीव नहीं किया, बल्कि एक मैसेज करके मुझे ये बताया कि मैं हॉस्पिटल में हूं और मेरी ऑक्सीजन लेवल 74 है। और उसके बाद फिर वही दुआओं का सिलसिला चला और आफ्टर 2-3 डेज मैंने यहां से एक मैसेज लिखा कि अल्लाह ताला ने, मुझे लगता है कि तुम्हें शिफा बख्शी होगी। लेकिन वहां से एक मैसेज आया कि वो 19 अप्रैल को ही इस दुनिया को छोड़ के चले।
So this friend of Manzoor Saab's, he said, after a few days, he said that actually I am not feeling very well. I have a fever. The friend who couldn't come, then they got in touch again, and he said, now it's gotten worse. Please pray for me. I am going to the hospital. I am in the hospital, and my oxygen level is down to 74. So Manzoor Sahab was praying for him, for his well-being. Then again, a few days later, when he got a message from him that I'm Manzoor Sahab had message saying that are you okay? I hope you have received the blessings of my prayers and of Allah. But he came to know that his friend had actually already died within this time. Yeah. 2 मिनट है मंजूर साहब, आप अपनी कविता सुनाएं।
कविता ये अमिताभ बच्चन साहब की है। गुजर जाएगा गुजर जाएगा, मुश्किल बहुत है मगर वक्त ही तो है, गुजर जाएगा गुजर जाएगा। जिंदा रहने का ये जो जज्बा है फिर उबर आएगा, गुजर जाएगा गुजर जाएगा। माना मौत चेहरा बदल कर आई है, माना मौत चेहरा बदल कर आई है, माना रात काली है, बावे है गहराई है, लोग दरवाजों पे रस्तों पे रुके बैठे हैं, लोग दरवाजों पे रस्तों पे रुके बैठे हैं, कहीं घबराए सहमे हैं, छुपे बैठे हैं, मगर यकीन रख ये बस लम्हा है, 2 पल में बिखर जाएगा। जिंदा रहने का ये जो जज्बा है फिर असर लाएगा। मुश्किल बहुत है मगर वक्त ही तो है, गुजर जाएगा, गुजर जाएगा। बाजार खाली, सड़कें सुनसान, मोहल्ले वीरान है, खौफ बरपा है, हर तरफ लोग हैरान है। ये वो कहर है जो दुनिया को डराने आया, ये वो कहर है जो दुनिया को डराने आया। मगर नासमझ जो इंसान को हराने आया, इतिहास गवाह है ये मसला भी सुलझ जाएगा। इतिहास गवाह है ये मसला भी सुलझ जाएगा। जिंदा रहने का जो जज्बा है गुम हुआ है, टूटा नहीं। जिंदा रहने का जो जज्बा है गुम हुआ है, टूटा नहीं। यही जज्बा फिर असर लाएगा, फिर उभर आएगा। मुश्किल बहुत है मगर वक्त ही तो है, गुजर जाएगा, गुजर जाएगा।
Thank you. It's a poem of hope, which is saying that this is a hard time and it will pass. I will post the translation on the web so that you can see it. But it's basically a poem of saying that everything will pass and so will this time.
So things will come, and it's a night. Something will pass on. We will life will go on.
And it's about our zeal to live, that we will all live. We want to live so badly that we will get past. Thank you, Manzoor Sahab. बहुत shukriya. Eid Mubarak.
Thank you. That's a beautiful reading, and we could hear from the intonation, from the reading, you know, what it's all about. Let's move on and go over to Indonesia or back. And we earlier heard from Indonesia that times are a little bit more difficult than when we spoke last time. Tell us a little bit what's happening.
Yeah, hi Frank. Hello everyone. Lovely to meet you all. So my name is Ria. You can call me Ria, though there's a long name there. I'm the founder and co-artistic director of Paper Moon Puppet Theater in Yogyakarta, Indonesia. Yeah, this time is it's I've just sent an email to Frank that I got kind of like very funny and interesting experience because yesterday one of our member got tested positive for COVID. And the whole family also got infected. And there is one 1-year-old little boy in his house as well. So the condition is quite hard because we couldn't go to hospitals because the hospitals are full with patients these days, and very hard to find oxygen can. And I think the numbers is still high. I think by today we have like maybe 20 million people got COVID positive. So that's really intense, especially in several cities in Java, especially like Jakarta and Jogja in our hometown as well. So yeah, it's a bit hard. But try our head on the level of above the water these days, because you know we just have to hang on and try our best to keep a positive way, you know, because that's how our we have to keep that energy on and to keep that fire on. So I remember our last conversation, Frank, that I said that we try hard to keep our engine warm.
Yeah.
And that's what we are still keep doing until today. And yeah, in a much harder situation, actually.
Much harder. Yeah, I remember that it was almost a bit optimistic, you know, that things were looking well, that you wouldn't really get hit. The New York Times, I think yesterday, wrote that perhaps the epicenter moved away from Bangalore, from India to Indonesia, that Indonesia at the moment is hardest hit, and there is not really clear how the outcome will be. 20 million is an incredibly high number. Yeah, we had Jonette earlier with us who said, you know, we heard about it in the news, we read about it, but all of a sudden it's with my friends, my family, and with my colleagues, as you also did say. How do you think the country was prepared for this?
Well, this is what we found very interesting, because in Indonesia, we have 200 million people, and the condition of the healthcare situation, the hospitals are not ready for that amount of people. So that's what we found, actually. Lots of hospitals, good hospitals only exist in big cities, and it's very few. And, you know, it's massive, it's insane. And these days, even oxygen, you know, to find an oxygen can, we found it's pretty hard. But what we found very interesting also, how the resilience of the people, that lots of little movement in communities these days, even through social media, that people are, okay, we gather some money, we would love to buy oxygen can, so anyone, if they need it, they can borrow it from us for free, for example. So that action is really happening as well these days. And so the public is really getting to action, because we found that, no, we couldn't hang only for the government, because there are lots of people in Indonesia, like so many. So yeah, just try
and
our
they
best.
had, in a way, what Abhishek also said about India, there was enough time in a way to prepare, and there have been clear warnings, that this is a serious pandemic. And but before we go on, tell a little bit our friends, also for Silvia and Abhishek, what do you do, and tell us about your great company.
So yeah, Paper Moon have been really stubborn for this 1.5 years. So we try to keep our performance on through online streaming, or like making digital performance. Actually, by the end of this weekend, Saturday and Sunday, we'll perform this piece for international audience, which calls 1200 degrees. So we keep trying to do some stuff like that. And we found that what we found very interesting, that we got more connected actually with Indonesian audience, which is spread, like for your information, we have 17,000 islands in this country. So we just visited very few cities of it. So we found that it's very interesting to have more, like audiences coming to theater space that they never experienced before. And we did International Biennale Puppet Festival last year on October. And we got lots of participants as well coming from around the world. And I think that was the biggest festival that we ever met, though it's on virtual ways. But yeah, so we keep trying to do stuff like that. And there will be a new baby born of another festival, actually, Frank. We are planning to make a Theater for Young Audience Festival for the first time in Indonesia. And we work with other organizations that we know that these days children has a very hard time. They just sit down watching screen, but it's only consumed. So we would love to do something that they can also participate on doing something. So that will be born soon, actually. So that's
it's amazing. I remember from our talk that one of the things Paper Moon did, people could commission a work, like let's say my friend is a healthcare worker, I'll pay you $50 to the company, 100, and Maria and colleagues would call the person up, get a idea about the background. They would create a work for them, or they would send out a material in a box, how to build a puppet, right? And then people would do that at home as a family project, or perhaps even perform a little piece and send the video. It sounds quite simple, but the idea, to be commissioned to do something that's needed, it's quite a radical.
And only $10. They just need to pay $10.
$10. Yeah, I didn't know that it was so low. It is just stunning, and she reminded us that in Indonesia, anyway, there is no real governmental structure. Teatro delle Albe gets a lot of help, and the great productions come out of that. But you guys live with the community, through the community, and even so, there is no cultural ministry about putting things together. But there are hundreds of festivals, right?
Exactly.
In
So
town.
actually today we would love to show you a little bit. I told you that we cannot prepare for something, but we just had an idea. We'd love to share something for you also, because it's almost the end of the talk for your 24-hour session.
Yeah.
We'd love to share a little bit of mini performance, if you don't mind.
Absolutely. I'm that's fantastic.
Okay, so get ready.
Okay.
That's
Oh,
it.
that was so beautiful. Thank you. That's fantastic.
Thank you. So I would love to show you some of our members that helping us today. So there are these four guys that. So these are four of other members of Paper Moon. Lovely to see you guys. Yeah.
Hi there.
Thank you.
Hi from New York.
Yay! Yes. Thanks.
That is quite something. So how are you doing then with your company now? You know, and I think you had, I remember it was a large number also, you know, of people involved in it. How are you surviving?
Well, actually, Paper Moon is not a big company. There are only now 7 actually. So it was 5 of us only, and now it's 7 members only. So since we are an independent puppet company, so we survive by making performance, doing touring, and you know, selling merchandises, making workshops, doing visual art projects. So we kind of like doing many things actually. But yeah, so we are tiny.
You are small. Well, still, it's not so tiny with everybody then also behind the scenes. Or is this the entire company of 7 people? They do everything.
We still have 2 other members. One that got tested positive, that he's at home, and one is my husband, actually the co-artistic director of Paper Moon.
Yeah, so it's about 9, 10 people.
7 of us.
7 plus 2, you said.
Plus 2, yeah.
Plus 2,
we are 5 now.
Oh, yeah. Oh, okay. So, do you follow the news from India? Do you have contact to India? How close are you in a way to that large country?
Well, Anurupa is actually one of my good friends that we've been, you know, like sharing and talking about stuff like that. So yeah, I'm following the news about that, and before it reached Indonesia, we had a big empathy to that. And I ever visited New Delhi before, like a couple of years ago. So I kind of like having the experience of being in India, and I couldn't imagine how, you know, it becomes a huge disaster in India itself. So yeah, it was really scary. But these days when we arrived to that situation, it was like, my goodness, really speechless. But I heard that some of the artists now in India are arranging, making some big movement of, you know, helping each other, which actually also happens here. Even it's kind of like more mixed rather than only artists in Jogja, especially kind of like activists or artists. And some activists, they're actually working together to build a coffin, some coffins, because the people couldn't get coffins anymore. So they're, you know, using some space to make coffins for that body.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's kind of like, my gosh, we are in almost like in your situation, or maybe worse.
Yeah,
But
and who knows, if we would do such a talk again in a half a year from now or 1 year, nobody really knows. We don't know anything what will
exactly,
happen.
yeah,
And
really uncertain situation, right?
yeah. And I remember New Year's Eve, not this year, but the year before, we were celebrating here in New York, and nobody had any idea what would be happening in a month or two. And we also do not know now what is around the corner. This is quite stunning. But what it also highlights, we know so little about the world. We all are concerned with our own corners, and I think it is of importance to listen, and that's what so many people said throughout the talk. This is something we can do, and also I think we always said it's kind of radical listening in our talks, in our CEDAW talks, about what artists have to say, and their comments are important. And there's someone said in the talks right now that there's someone made a petition that artists' voices are introduced as evidence. Like in a court case for environmental destruction or whatever, that artists should come up as witnesses, and it should be taken as serious as a scientific witness or in a criminal case. So what are your plans? Are you working on a new play, on a one that you will put out? Tell us a little bit, maybe, what you are.
Yeah, so this time, because I think we had a big interest these days for families, because that we found very important these days, that families are really staying in the same place all the time, and then it's kind of like very tough for lots of them, and becomes stressful for many parents that have to do school from home. The children couldn't go out for playing in the outside, so it's really like condensed situation. So we are really thinking about making some projects that we are working with Australian artists and also Singaporean artists that will make workshops that they can make their own productions, they can make their own performance and installation at home. So rather than only watching, but we would love them to be the artists themselves, to create something for their family, for themselves, actually. So yeah, we are working on that piece, and then we're also preparing for that new festivals that we are planning to do in October. And yeah, of course, planning other performances.
That is great. And I remember you also did a talk series, right, with puppet artists who you put together. Quite a big number, actually, right?
Exactly, yeah.
How many did you do?
It was 18 at that time, and they're kind of like wanting us to do it again, but I think the condition is quite different this time, because the condition at that time, we were kind of like, calling our friends in Italy, because they're the one who are in a very stressful situation. But it feels like if we started as well, we kind of like, we have to have that kind of energy again. Maybe we are not in a good position for now, not in a good energy for now. So we're just trying to do it for our, like the closest for this time.
It was much more playful in a way. You had more space and energy. Now it turned very serious all of a sudden, and you do not know what stays ahead. Yeah, so really, thank you all for being with us and staying with us. So this was an important update. And Manzoor, thank you for your reading and your great work of translation. It's God's work, I think, really to translate the words from one piece to another. I think also Silvia put the words and the subtitles under the video where we couldn't show the full one, but it is so important, and there are also new creations. I don't know if Tanvi can put Peter Schumann and Iman and Dalia are with us all. The great Peter Schumann from the Bread and Puppet Theater will be with us. Tanvi, if you can, we did it in previous sessions. Maybe make a smooth transition, and we all can say hello to them if that is thinkable. If not, we make a transition from this session to the next one. But really, thank you for the update from Italy. We remember what we heard from Bergamo when Italy was the epicenter. Grandparents, of mothers, whatever, or grandparents of kids, all of a sudden they got sick. An ambulance would come. People didn't even know what hospital they went. They would get a call, say the person has died, and they got in the mail a package of the ashes, and there was no funeral. Nobody could get together. It was heartbreaking. And the lockdown in Italy was one of the hardest, I think, also in Italy. But